Hey everybody. So I recently watched an extremely viral TikTok where a woman discusses Disney princesses in response to this clip of Rachel Zegler talking about how Snow White is going to be badass now.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be
yeah.
saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
I could literally write a PhD thesis on the pseudo-feminism that is criticizing Disney princesses.
I want to preface my thoughts here by saying I find that little Rachel Zegler soundbite very annoying. It comes off as pandering and forced to me, and this stuff has always just been a bit embarrassing. If the main sales pitch you have for a film is that it will fix the politics of the original, you're not making a movie, you're just giving me an extremely basic social studies lesson. It's a very boring, tired way of advertising a movie. With that said, I disagree with a lot of things about this TikTok and found those disagreements a bit interesting, so let's get into it. We'll start here with her first claim. It's not feminist to judge the decisions of these Disney women.
Criticizing Disney princesses is not feminist. Not every woman is a leader. Not every woman wants to be a leader. Not every woman wants or craves power, and that's okay. It is not anti-feminist to want to fall in love, to want to get married, to want to stay at home, to be soft, to want to be a homemaker. None of these things make you less valuable as a person or a woman.
Not every woman wants to be a leader. Many want to get married and have families, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it's like, sure, that's correct, but it's just a rehash of terrible points we've seen 1,000 times. Fictional characters are not real people. Judging them isn't the same as judging the actions of real women, and because of this, it makes sense to point to patterns, ideology. Why do Snow White and Cinderella, the first two Disney princess movies, center so much around a man who will make the protagonist's life better? Why do they center domestic values? Why do they put such an emphasis on beauty? The early movies about boys aren't like that. Neither Pinocchio nor Dumbo have a romance, and while Bambi does, it's essentially a footnote of the story. None of them advertise the goodness of domestic service at all, and we don't hear about how attractive Dumbo is. So, yes, I think these movies are patriarchal, that they convey an ideology that places women in domestic roles and places men at the very center of their desires. None of this is strange. This isn't a hot take. It's not interesting. These movies were made in 1937 and 1950, respectively, societies that were obviously more extremely and explicitly patriarchal than the world is today. Anyway, this brings me to a minor point. The TikToker makes this lengthy argument about people misunderstanding The Little Mermaid.
They criticize Princess Ariel and completely write her off and say that she's pathetic and has no sense of self because she gave up her voice for the sake of a man, failing to realize that the entire premise of the movie is that he fell in love with the voice that she thought she had to give up because of the evil sea witch.
And while I'm not super sold on what she's saying for reasons I may get to one day, it's interesting that this is even part of the conversation. Disney princesses do not represent some kind of ideologically coherent position. The Little Mermaid is from 1991, and as Rachel Zegler emphasizes, Snow White is not. It's tempting to read in some universal feminist critique of these films, but none could possibly apply, right? Moving on, the TikToker makes this point about Cinderella, how the feminist critique writes off her ability to have hope and stay kind in the face of adversity.
We completely write off Cinderella's incredible capability of having hope and staying kind in the face of years and years and years of abuse, solely because she fell in love and happened to marry a prince.
But I would just respond, that's a terrible feminist critique, if it does exist. Obviously, Cinderella is virtuous and has good things about her. She is, in fact, an exemplar of 1950s womanhood. Kind, gentle, persevering, a good homemaker. And again, none of these traits are bad, but this model of a perfect woman can still be criticized. We might ask, would a male Disney character of this time be expected to be kind and obedient to his abusive family? Would that be a value we expect of the men of early Disney films? And the answer is no, obviously not. The talker also makes a point here about how Cinderella isn't waiting for a man.
We say that she was waiting for a prince to come save her from her problems, when in reality, there's no real indication of that in the movie whatsoever.
And I find that interesting because, while Cinderella may not be waiting for a man to save her, Snow White, certainly is.
I'm wishing for the one I love to find me today.
It's actually the first thing we learn about her, that she's wishing for a man to come. It's striking, come to think of it, that in this entire video, there is not one word about Snow White and its themes, when that's what the soundbite was about. Does this woman think Snow White actually is patriarchal? And if so, what's even the point of zooming in on Rachel Zegler here? She said nothing wrong. You didn't say that she said anything wrong. Anyway, the TikTok ends with this same point. Feminist critiques of these movies are just about judging women who want men and love in their lives.
All you're doing is criticizing women for things that men get to do unquestioned and denying them their right to be or fall in love.
And no, I don't think they are. I don't agree. I don't agree with her. Fucking slayed another TikTok, boys. Let's fucking go!